Well, good morning there, friends. It's 7 o'clock in the morning inside my shop. I bought this neat little gauge yesterday that shows me the temperature and the relative humidity. I know recently there's been some discussion about humidity and how the humidity can affect your KNO3, potassium nitrate. And I just want to make this quick observation. Last night at, I should say late yesterday afternoon at 6 o'clock, the relative humidity in my shop right here was at about 22%. Okay, and now it's right at 40. And I suspect as the day goes along, the temperature is going to go up and the humidity is going to go down. So, with that being stated, I'm going to keep a close eye on the humidity, and we'll get right into this video. The main thrust is challenging a statement. Thank you to my darling wife for leaving me some coffee. And as you just saw, it's 40 degrees is pretty chilly. So, the challenge that I want to take up, whether it fails or whether I can take it to a completion, this video will show. So let me just give you the overall view. When I started learning how to make gunpowder, black powder, 3.5 years ago, whatever the timeline was, I was using Spectracide Stump remover. Not having a chronograph, I didn't know what my velocities were. And as I've mentioned before, are you more dead or less dead with higher or lower velocities as it pertains to homemade black powder? So at that time, I had no problem making homemade gunpowder with Spectracide, that being, 96, whatever the percentage is, 96, 98% pure potassium nitrate. I wasn't concerned about that. So, and I could buy this at Lowe's or Home Depot at the time. When my first bottle ran out, I went to Lowe's when I had an opportunity, and it was not on the shelf. So that's when I went to Skylighter, and I bought a couple pounds of potassium nitrate from Skylighter. Had no problems making gunpowder. Everything was fine and dandy. I went through that. Then I went to buy some more from Skylighter because the advertisement was 100% pure. And I had already known that this stuff wasn't 100% pure. Okay? And obviously throughout the years, my knowledge regarding this subject has increased. Okay? So, and there again, we all should be on this same learning curve. Okay? But at the same time, we need to either confirm or deny certain statements, and it's really no different than somebody, myth busting somebody's statement off of a forum such as, well, you can't weigh black powder. Yes, you can. You can actually weigh it. You just have to know what granulation, like 3F factory black powder is. If you put it in a flask of 70 grains and put it on a scale, you're going to be right at 70 grains. When you go to 2F, that's going to change, but that's a topic for another time. So, then I did not want to buy, as I previously mentioned in the previous video, I did not want to source my potassium nitrate from Skylighter because they were now charging a $15 additional shipping fee. So that's when I went to Amazon and I started buying my potassium nitrate, in 5-pound bags. Okay. Now, a couple of years ago, a buckskinning friend of mine who runs a hardware store told me that you can't use this to make gunpowder no more because they changed their formula. Well, I had no reason to test that because I source my potassium nitrate someplace else. But if you're just starting to do this and you hear somebody say, don't use it, don't use it. Well, I went out and I bought a pound of this yesterday because Lowe's still had it on their shelf. But let me qualify this better. When I went to Lowe's looking for this, they didn't have any of this that a person could see sitting on the shelf. So I went to the clerk and I says, do you have any Spectracide Stump remover? And he got out his little device. Well, yeah, I should have 21 bottles of this on the shelf. And we're looking, can't find it, can't see it. So he asked another clerk, do you know where this got moved to or if it got moved? And he says, no, it should be right here. The problem is that there was 6 containers of Spectracide something else for removing stumps. And it was in a white bottle. Okay, so this is why I think it's becoming challenging when it comes to Spectracide and using this for making gunpowder. Okay, because at this point I'm convinced, without checking it myself, without testing it myself, I'm convinced that that white bottle Spectracide Stump remover is not the same. Now, the second clerk looked at his device and says, yeah, we should have 21 bottles of this stuff, the black bottle, where is it? So they started removing the white bottle stump remover, and lo and behold, shoved to the back was 21 bottles of this. So I bought it. Now, what I want to do is I want to run a test. And I'm going to run the simplest of tests that I know how to do. And that's to take what I know is 100% pure potassium nitrate, put it on the plate, and put my torch to it and watch the reaction. And I'll do that so that all of you friends can watch the reaction along with. Then I will take some of this, put it on the plate, put my torch to it, and watch the reaction. If it's similar, then what I will do, and this is going to take me the course of the day because I have to be someplace at 9:30 and it's 7 o'clock, so I don't have time to do the rest of it. But what I will do is I will boil 250 milliliters of distilled water, and I will add this into it, dissolve it, and recrystallize it. As it crystallizes, you are now getting the pure form of potassium nitrate. So whatever garbage might be in here is going to be cast aside, and then regrind it, and you should have 100% potassium nitrate, if indeed the formula in the black bottle has not been changed. And that's what I want to test. Now, for me, this was only $6. I think a lot of you probably spilled more beer at a bar than what this cost. So let me get repositioned here. I'm going to get the camera turned, and we'll first burn a little bit of this, and then we'll turn around and burn the Spectracide, and we'll see if through burning, if they react the same way. Okay, so there's a little bit of the potassium nitrate from the bag that's labeled 100% potassium nitrate. Here's the torch, and I'm going to burn it, and you watch it and decide for yourself how it reacts. Okay, now let's take the Spectracide. I'm going to turn the plate to the other side. and then do the same thing. Okay, and as you can see, as that's cooling down, it's hardening back up, which is, in theory, going back to its pure state. So let me get set up and turn the camera back on. Okay, you guys saw me pour that right out of the bottle. Let's watch what it does with the torch. I don't know about you guys, but it reacted the same. So in my mind, it's passed the first test. So I'm going to clean this up and get on to where I need to be. And later this afternoon, I will boil some water. You can go on YouTube, guys, and see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14 years ago, there were already people showing how to purify and what the process is in purifying potassium nitrate. And as I showed in a previous video, you take your 15 grams, put it in a clear jar, and just roll it, and then you can pick out some of those impurities. You don't necessarily need to, boil this down and then watch your little impurities float to the bottom. Okay? You don't need to do that, but if you're really, really interested in the purest and the most purest form, well, then this is what you might want to spend your time doing. For me, it's really not that necessary. It's just a matter of, hey, it makes good YouTube videos. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I'll rejoin you this afternoon. Okay, guys, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The door to my shop's been open for 1 hour to take advantage of the temperatures and the relative humidity. This is May 3rd, 2024. As you can see, I'm right at about 72, 74, maybe about 75 and rising. And the relative humidity is probably right at about 22, 23. Okay, this is why I am not concerned when I make my black powder, the moisture that might be left behind in my potassium nitrate. I do keep it in sealed jars or a sealed bag, but I think you friends can appreciate, hopefully as well as I can, that for me, here in New Mexico where I live, this is not an issue. Okay, so I decided to make some fresh 60-40 tin lead ratio round ball to put in the tumbler. I'm going to be using the rubber tumbler, and I just wanted some good, clean, fresh round ball, just so that I don't have to spend any time cleaning the other round ball and or using those round balls to maybe inadvertently contaminate it. Alright guys, I decided to go ahead and record this and show you, my attempt at purifying this Spectracide Stump remover that I've been told the formula's changed. So this is part 2. Originally I had decided not to record this, but then I figured half you guys are going to be, what the hell, you should have recorded it. So let me show you what I've got set up here to get this accomplished while the water
gets to the boil. And I have 250 milliliters, which is just a hair over a cup of water. And from the YouTube videos that I have watched, most of the guys, or I should say everybody that has purified the Spectracide Stump remover, that cup of water, more than enough water to dissolve that entire bottle. So while this is starting to boil, let me show you what I've prepared. Once I get all of that stump remover dissolved, I'm going to pour it into this jar. Then what I'm using as a filter is just some muslin, one layer of muslin. And I've already cleaned up the round ball, and I cleaned out my tumbler, and I'm thinking I could probably just break the crystals up by hand. Just put the lid on it and just, roll it by hand. I think that should suffice. But once I pour the water through the strainer, obviously I'll show you how much crap is in it, but then I'm going to place it in the styrofoam jug overnight. And I froze a gallon of water. And this little tube, or this little sleeve right here, is what I'm going to set that jar on, because I want, and what everybody is kind of alluding to, is let it slow down slowly. But some guys put it in a refrigerator. Also, some guys put it in a freezer for a few hours. It's my goal to, obviously, once I get the water boiling, the stump remover poured, dissolved, pour it into the glass, put it in this container, and I'm going to let it set overnight. As I am recording this portion right now, this moment in real time, is 4:30. And I'm going to let it set here overnight. I kind of wanted to do this late in the day so that this portion of my shop could be in the shade. And tonight's overnight temperature here in New Mexico, May 3rd, it's supposed to get down to 39 degrees. So I should have sufficient enough cooling to create crystals. Just don't know how big they'll be. We'll just find out tomorrow. So as you can tell, the water's been brought to a boil. So I'm going to add in some of the KNO3. I'm going to stir a little bit of it. And as you can tell, I'm pouring it right out of the bottle. Get it all in there. It's a little warm above this pan. I don't have a hot plate, so I have to kind of makeshift what I do here. And I'll wait till all of that dissolves, or at least stir it, boil it, bring it back up to a boil. And I can tell you guys right now, if you can look at the side of the pan, you can see that's your potassium nitrate right there. Just a quick note, as I'm stirring this, I'm looking through the water to see if I can spot any like floaters or things moving around through the potassium nitrate, and so far I have not. But that's not to say it's not there. And just to let your friends know, I'm not looking to save every speck of this. This is just to confirm that you can still use potassium nitrate. Oh, there's a little speck. from Spectracide Stump Remover and use it for gunpowder. Because there are those out there that think the formula has changed or think that this is a garbage way of doing it. And as I bring the hot water up the side of the pan to wash some of that other KNO3 back down, you can see that some of it's still being left behind on the walls of the pot. I don't know if the camera can pick it up and you guys can see there's starting to be like a little film on top of this. The KNO3, the potassium nitrate, is doing what it should be doing. That is according to what everyone else is saying. Now the one video I watched on YouTube, his KNO3 was a lot more cloudier than this, and I was kind of expecting to see this really cloudy, but for what it is, and not really knowing what to expect for myself, I would say that this isn't as cloudy as some of the stuff that I've seen, you know, several years ago on YouTube. And also bear in mind too why I'm not overly concerned about this, because once the pan cools down, I can just take a rag and wipe the edge of this pan down, and whatever falls to the bottom of the pan I can put back into the container. I would say, guys, that this is dissolved. Didn't take long. Alright, so I'm gonna probably not record me pouring it into the bottle because I want to do this kind of quick, but once I get it all poured in the bottle, I'll turn the camera on the bottle so you can see it for yourselves. I don't know how well the camera can pick it up and how well you guys can see it, but I actually poured it off of this edge right here, and you can see a little bit of stuff settled on the bottom. In my opinion, guys, if one of those flakes ended up in an 80 grain powder charge, how many feet per second would you lose in velocity? Okay, let's take a look at the top of the filter. Well, I don't see any large chunks of junk in there. I mean, not anything larger than what's left in the pan. And if you do see any little white stuff on the edges, yeah, I kind of spilt out a little bit, as you can see right there on the table. But all in all, you can see it's already starting to crystallize in the bottom because this jar was cool. The best method to have done this, as I'm told, is to have like a double wall thermos and heat up the inside before you pour it. But if you look at it, you can see the recrystallization of it. All of the crystals are dropping to the bottom. So I'm going to get this into the container and we'll take a look at it tomorrow. Okay, there it is in the container right next to the gallon jug of water that I froze. Okay guys, it's 4:30 in the afternoon. And I decided to come in here and scrape down this pan to get enough potassium nitrate to burn it on that plate and see how it reacts. And I just happen to be looking at my humidity gauge. Can you guys see this? And there's the inside temperature of the building. Like I said, this is why I am not overly concerned about my gunpowder, my potassium nitrate, and hydrostatic or hydroscopic issues with it. That's below 20%, guys. Humidity. That's pretty damn dry. Just thought you'd like to see that. Okay, I pretty much got that pan cleaned off, scraped it off. And I put it in this clean jar, and I'm going to set it in the sun for about an hour and evaporate any moisture that might be still in that potassium nitrate. And you know, obviously if there's any moisture present, I'm going to get a rag and wipe the moisture off the side of the jar, because I do want to do another burn with this tomorrow and see how it burns. Alright, before I pull the lid off,
I want you guys to see what I woke up to this morning. Enjoy. Here it is, May 4th, and the elk are coming in the yard. And there's my dog. They're coming right in for the alfalfa. Shh. Come on, guys. Here comes another one. I'm sure by now they've all dropped their antlers. Yeah, she's finally turned them and now they're gone. I also want to share with you guys a shirt that my wife had purchased for me. You know, in light of all the black powder stuff that I've been doing and testing and everything else, she thought it would be cute to get this shirt, and this is what it says. Well, I'm pretty confident my last words will be, well, shit. That didn't work. Thank you, dear. Appreciate that. So, where are we at? The following morning. It did get down to 40 degrees last night, and I'll tell you what I did. At 8:30 last night, I went out and checked the temperature, and it was 52 degrees. So I decided at that time to pull the jug, that frozen gallon jug, out of this container. Because that frozen jug was actually starting the water to freeze in that glass jar. So I left that out knowing that I was going to have a 40-degree overnight temperature, or at least 39. I decided just to take out the gallon jug and just leave everything inside the container. Okay. So once again, if you just click on this video and you haven't watched the first part yet, this is to reconfirm whether you can still use Spectracide Stump Remover in the black bottle as a source of potassium nitrate. Now I do know that, you know, there's some people out there that disparage this as a source of potassium nitrate. The reason that I want to verify this for myself is because a couple of years ago, a buckskinning friend of mine who operates a hardware store indicated to me at that time that they changed the formula, and it's not a viable source for potassium nitrate. So, as you guys saw previously in the video, I did go ahead, boil the distilled water, dissolve it, and I'm going to give you guys the results here in just a minute. Okay, so what's in this jar right here is what I scraped off the sidewalls of the pan. Now I set this in the sun yesterday with the lid on it just so I could, you know, see how much water was still left in these crystals, even though it was scraped off the side of the pan, and there was still some in it. And unfortunately today we're not going to get much sun, so I may just wait to do this another day or just put it at the end of this video. But how dirty is the water that's going to come out of the crystals, the potassium nitrate? Well, let's have a look-see. There's the jar. Okay, now there is some water in here because I can see it moving around, but everything that you see as a solid or whatever, that is pure potassium nitrate. Okay, so I'm going to pour the water off into a clean jar, and we'll just see how clear or how cloudy this water really is. Give me a moment. Surprise, surprise, surprise. It's really not that much more clear than piss. Not bad, is it, guys? Yeah, let me give you another look-see. It's not all that cloudy. I still have a little bit more to drain off in here, and at this point, you know, obviously I'm going to have to work to get the pure, unadulterated potassium nitrate out of this jar. And again, I'm not looking to save every little bit of this, because there are some out there that say that you can actually reboil this and get a few more crystals out of it. That's not my intended purpose. My intended purpose in this video is to show those that think this is not a viable source for potassium nitrate. In the black container, at least I showed for myself that this is still a viable source. So, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do to get this out of the glass jar. It's supposed to be cloudy all day today, so I don't think I'm going to have any good drying temperature, so I may just let this sit. Well, as you can see, it's not going to be a good drying day to be able to get these crystals out on the pan, put them on the dashboard of my truck, and dry them out. But I can just put the lid on it, keep any dust and particles from getting into the potassium nitrate, and when I get a good day, I can dry them out. Okay, I have all the water drained off, or at least as much as I can get out at the present. And as you can see, that water is fairly clear. Okay, but some of you might be interested in knowing what the crystals look like close up. Well, let me get into a little bit better light and I'll show you that. So obviously I didn't get the huge crystals like some others have, but you can look at that, I hope, and you can see that there's all kinds of crystals in there. Give you a close-up, and hopefully the self-adjusting mechanism, the focus on the camera is working so you guys can see. For a couple of days so I can get it on my a flat tray. Yes, you can put it in your oven, 150, 175 degrees for a couple hours, let it dry out, but I don't need to make gunpowder right now, so I can just let this set like this. So anyhow, friends, thanks for watching, and I hope that you can glean something from this. Well, I guess I got a little long-winded and I wasn't paying close enough attention to the life of my battery. But I just want to thank everybody for watching the video.
I hope that you can glean some information from this that you can personally use. And without being too long-winded, thank you, friends, for watching this video. I will do the burn test on another video because I'm just not going to get enough drying weather today to dry it out. I can do that later. But I think from the beginning of this video, you can see when I burned that potassium nitrate from the Spectracide bottle, it reacted similar. You can look at the glass jar and see that it's potassium nitrate. So thanks for watching once again, and I certainly hope that you'll give it a thumbs up and share this with your bestest of buds. Bye.